Sarah Palin, true to her word, came on, she issued some ridiculous statement standing in front of like some phony-looking fireplace, quoting Ronald Reagan, saying that you can't blame society for the behavior of individuals. That was that she posted today. It's all over the news. Well, I disagree with that, your point, and I'll discuss that more next time.
Crazy man grin is right. The guy is just crazy. And, and he may have followed politics in his life like everybody else in the world. You can't sidestep it, but the guy is just crazy. I mean, he can't hold a job. He can't relate with any kind of authority. He's just plain nuts, and I don't think that politics entered into it except for the fact that that's the arena he chose because it was a good crowd. I mean, these poor people who just were going to the grocery store and got shot, my God. But I honestly think that the guy is just a wacko. He hasn't been able to hold a job. Everything that you read about him says he can't get along with his coworkers, he can't get along with students, he can't get along with teachers, he can't get along with anybody. He's just flat nuts. And how he could get a gun is beyond me. Really shouldn't have ever been able to.
And I think we can all agree that the guy is certainly crazy, but I think what is the motivation? And when you see the maps that, Sarah Palin put out with, the crosshairs across, different representatives in different states, that's certainly a problem. And I don't disagree with her when she says that, it's not a society, it's an individual person. And yes, the person's got to be fixed to just take any sort of rhetoric and run with it. But there has to be some sort of responsibility in politics, and that's just totally irresponsible. And we can't be blind to think that that doesn't have an impact on people who are maybe not mentally, sane or a little bit imbalanced. When they hear these things, they're going to say, okay, that's an invitation to go ahead and go out there and shoot up, a Safeway for all, out of all places. I mean, there was a 9-year-old girl. It's just an awful thing, and I think it definitely has political motivation behind it. There's no way to deny that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree. I think the politics on this case certainly came right afterwards, and it came really hard, and I think it's really, it's kind of inappropriate to be applying all of this political motivation after the fact. So we have crazy, and he does a crazy act, and it's used by an organization like the liberals that are not in power anymore, and it's used by them to kind of slow down the agenda that was elected by the majority of the state. I mean, we had this massive Republican influx of of representatives that have come to the Capitol, and now they can't do what they set out to do and what they were elected to do, and it's because some crazy person acted crazy and had something that could be construed as political agenda, and now we're here.
Yeah, the guy's just nuts, and it may have manifested itself in some political arena, but he hasn't been able to hold a job. He's been kicked out of classes. He's been reported by teachers as being disruptive and scary. She felt threatened herself, and her students threatened by his presence. This is a guy who's had problems long before he ever started looking at the political arena, and his whole life has just been one big indicator that he's going to blow up. It's I don't think that the political arena is what made him blow up. It's just where he went to do it.
Well, it's not that.
If it wasn't for that, it would be anything to do.
I think, again, this guy definitely is imbalanced and there's something off with him. But I know it was reported that he had written a letter to this representative and did not like the response he got back. There's clearly some sort of political agenda going on. I don't know if they released what was in the letter or what he was upset about. But it seems to be that he was some sort of, had some sort of political motivation. And I think that's the problem. And I think the way that, some politicians, not on either side, go out there and discuss things, it definitely is in this rhetoric of hate and violence, and that's exactly what we shouldn't be doing. So impressionable people are going to go out there, pick up a gun, and do crazy things like that. So I think he's a little bit of splash political, a little bit of crazy, but there's certainly a lot of political motivation behind it.
Well, so I'm going to take a different tack, and I'm going to say that I think political people are crazy. I'm just, saying that we have this whole, we've proposed a dichotomy, either crazy or political. But I'm pretty sure that political people are nuts. I mean, we have the nut gun control people who think that people who live in Montana shouldn't be able to have hunting rifles, even though there are, bears and bobcats or whatever the hell they have out there in Montana. So that's really, it's a crazy political solution to a problem that's not a problem for everyone, and it's just imposing regulations. And then you have, the crazy gun nuts, or we could consider it any which way. I mean, we have the crazies who go out and commit crimes, and then you have the crazy backlash. And so I think this is, it's more of a symptom of something bigger.